Hello, esports fans, and welcome here to this game of StarCraft that was found on reddit.com/r/StarCraft. This game will be played out on Akilon Wastes between our two opponents, and we will have spawning down in the lower right-hand position as our red Protoss player. It is cRUSHninja. His opponent, who will be spawning in the upper left-hand position, as our blue Zerg player, it will be Legion. Now we have cRUSHninja going for that gateway first. Gonna get those units out nice and early, playing a very nice defensive style. Pretty common against a Zerg player, who you don't know if he's gonna go for that hatchery first, or get out that spawning pool nice and early and put on a lot of early aggression. But we actually don't see Legion doing anything yet, as he shouldn't be, because it's just not that time in the game yet. This will be where he makes his first critical decision, if he goes for that spawning pool first, or if he goes all the way up to hatchery. And we will see that momentarily, as it looks like he is going to go for that hatchery first opening, which tends to be a little more an economically minded opening. Whereas we see that cRUSHninja's getting that nice little wall off there, so there's only really, now 4 areas that Zerglings can get in to the mineral line. But it's not, this wide open area here is closed off, and Stalkers will have an easier time holding this, as well as Zealots. cRUSHninja choosing not to scout his opponent here, just going for this very simple opening, getting that Zealot on the way. Legion's first scout will be down into cRUSHninja's base very shortly. And we see that Legion is started his spawning pool, so he can get those Zerglings out and start his tech up, as well as getting his queens out onto the map. And we see cRUSHninja just getting pylon coverage around his base. Now this is a very friendly map for large macro games, because both players can safely secure 3 bases easily and a 4th base pretty easily. We very often see Zerg grab their first base, obviously as their main, their first expansion here at their natural, and then take their 3rd base here, because that means that they only have to defend in this area right here, because that covers the ramp up into their natural expansion, as well as this entryway into their 3rd base, and then take this back pocket expansion as their 3rd base. But we see that Legion has chosen to take that as his 3rd, because he can get down to it through these destructible rocks and knock over this rock tower to protect it, so he will at least have a warning if his opponent is coming for him. But we see that his opponent is going to have a very easy time getting over any number of destructible rocks, because he has chosen to go for the Stargate opener, and will most likely be very aggressive with an Oracle or a couple of Phoenixes around the map, picking off drones and queens wherever he can. And Legion did not see those Stargates go down. He actually didn't see very much. He just saw that, there's a pylon and a gas in his opponent's base, and is still choosing to go for this very quick 3rd base, as opposed to getting his tech and units out here. But that's actually going to work out pretty well for him, because his opponent hasn't done very much yet. But we see that cRUSHninja is going to go for the Phoenixes to pick off the Overlords around the map, as well as force Spore Crawlers in the mineral lines, pick off queens where they can, pick off workers, and pick off any, stray units that don't have anti-air supporting them, using that Graviton Beam to pick them up and shoot them, because Phoenixes can only shoot other air units. Legion is droning very heavily back in his base, really getting that saturation up on his natural expansion. His 3rd base has just finished up. He should start saturating that very soon. Still working off of 1 gas geyser, but doesn't have very many tech structures up, so he doesn't have very much to spend his gas on, so that is a good choice. And cRUSHninja getting those 3 gateways up, as well as the Stargate, is continuing to chrono boost out Phoenix. Once he has 2 or 3 or 4, more likely, he can start moving around and start to pick off Overlords, warping in additional Zealots just to hold the ground. And where is that Overlord? Because he hasn't seen these Stargates yet, but Legion just auto went for those spore crawlers. That is excellent game sense right there. Just knowing that so many Protoss go for these air openers right now, and they can be incredibly devastating to a Zerg player who's not prepared. Legion just auto grabs those spore crawlers when he has the money for them, because he does not want to get his queens picked off for nothing. Even adding on a spine crawler, Legion is just playing very defensive. He wants to hold on to his base, play defensively, and not lose to any early aggression. Those Phoenixes are now moving out across the map. This Overlord actually sees the Stargate now, doesn't see it producing, but he now sees that the Phoenixes are across the map, and they are going to try to swoop in. They are going to pick up this Queen and get that for free. They should also get that Overlord back over there. This might actually take 2 lifts with only 2 Phoenix attacking. The 3rd Phoenix is here now, and they kill it. It still takes 2 lifts. That's fine, though. They should go for that Overlord, and they do. What is the reaction here from Legion? He just tosses down a couple additional spore crawlers to get full coverage of that line, pulls all of his queens back. He's got a lot of queens out of the map. He has, is that 5 queens? He has 5 queens on the map. The Overlords unfortunately rally to the middle there, outside the range of any of those spores. His queens are moving around creep. He has excellent creep spread between his bases, so his queens can get back to defend against any of these Phoenix attacks. And one of these Phoenix is getting pretty low on health. Other 2 are starting to lose their shields. He actually kill off one of them? No. The last one is just chilling in his main base. These Overlords will get picked off. That's unfortunate for Legion, but it's an unfortunate cost of doing business. He does not have these destructible rocks taken down yet, because he doesn't, I believe, have any Zerglings on the map. No, all he's done so far is build drones and queens, trying to get those spore crawlers positioned around there. Oh, and one of them gets picked up before it can start building. But with 3 spore crawlers here, this aggression from the Phoenixes is going to be shut down very shortly. They are not going to be able to get much more done throughout the base of Legion. We'll have to see. But no. cRUSHninja actually just dedicating to this Phoenix harassment right now. Adding on additional Phoenixes, getting that count up to 6 before going into the Twilight Council and unlocking that Templar tech. Whether he chooses to go for the High Templar or the Dark Templar, we will see after he is done here. But these queens are starting to wear away on these Phoenixes. The Phoenix is only at this point able to really get kills on the Overlords, which it's actually pretty annoying to lose your Overlords in this position as a Zerg player. And Legion actually repositioning the Spine Crawlers to cover that ramp even better. He's done some damage to those rocks, hasn't taken them out yet. His queens actually cannot defend his 3rd base, so he doesn't have any saturation up on it. Getting some Hydralisks out now to start doing some anti-air, but they have such low health that actually these Phoenixes can pick up all 3 of those and still kill them off if he chooses to do that. It doesn't actually even attack with them, so the Phoenixes don't auto-engage with them. Grabs one of them and picks it off very quickly. But with these queens and these Hydralisks here, that stage of aggression, Phoenix aggression, should be over. And we see Zealot Charge is the item of choice, upgrade of choice out of this Twilight Council. As opposed to unlocking any of that Templar tech, he's going to go for Zealot Charge. He already has quite a large count of Zealots, up to 5 at this point. In addition to his 7 Phoenixes, 8 Phoenixes at this point on the map. This is a high count of Phoenixes, all produced off of a 1 base economy with 1 Stargate. This could be easily shut down by just pure Hydralisk aggression, but once those Hydralisks engage with the Zealots, they will fall very quickly. We have 15 Hydralisks on the field, unupgraded. They don't have that... Muscular Augments is the upgrade that grants Hydralisks their improved speed off of creep. And while we saw excellent creep spread connecting the 3 bases, we don't see excellent creep spread out across the map yet. But we do see him starting to get that. So these Hydralisks aren't going to be very effective outside of Legion's main base, but they are very effective in his base. And now with this high spore crawler count, these Phoenixes should really wait and just be used as some small scouting information. He's going to continue to try to poke away at the Overlords that they can find, but especially with this +1 ranged attack, missile attack coming in, this isn't going to work out incredibly well for cRUSHninja from this point on. cRUSHninja double expanding behind this. That is an excellent choice. He was starting to run low on the potential economy from his 1 base. And, you know, he's so well contained his opponent to this point that he is a little safe in taking these 2 bases. Can feel pretty confident in doing that. even adding on the robotics bay. He's going to go for some Colossi behind this. The double forge is coming down. He's going to start heavily upgrading his ground units. And those Phoenixes overextending a little bit. He should lose one, if not two. Three of them fall before they get up into the main base, where there is not quite as good Spore Crawler coverage, but there is Spore Crawler coverage nonetheless, and the Hydralisks get up there, and a fourth Phoenix falls. Damage being put on other ones. These Phoenixes overextended a little bit there to, I think, pick up an Overlord kill and a Queen kill for the cost of 4 Phoenixes. That was not cost efficient. But what it does is it does keep Legion forced back up into his base. But Legion is, going all out here, taking a 4th base, even morphing in his hive, the final tech structure in that tiered system from the hatchery for the Zerg player. But we see that cRUSHninja is adding on double Colossi here. Those Colossi are just going to absolutely tear through the almost pure Hydralisk army of Legion. But Legion might be able to get at a high enough count of Hydralisks that they can trade efficiently. Hydralisk being the high DPS unit from that Zerg army. Roaches are usually used in it as a tank to protect the Hydralisks. But if you can get enough Hydralisks, you can just forget about the tank and go pure DPS, but that is not entirely the plan of Legion, as we see Legion is adding on 5 Vipers who have that abduct ability to bring those Colossus out of position so that the Hydralisk can snipe them off easier, as well as beginning the research on that Enduring Locust upgrade, which is the Swarm Host upgrade. And what that will allow him to do is just slowly grate down the defenses of cRUSHninja and really just trading those free units for the very costly units of cRUSHninja. This is a very common play for the Zerg players against the Protoss, and it then becomes entirely, except the problem with it is that it's an incredibly static way to play Zerg. So it then becomes entirely the responsibility of the Protoss player to abuse the immobility of the Zerg army. Whereas usually what you see is it's the Zerg's player's job to abuse the immobility of that Protoss army. So it's very strange for Protoss players to all of a sudden be put in the element of, all of a sudden, I'm the very aggressive player. I have to move around and drop my opponents. I have to start using those warp prisms. And we see that Legion is going to grab 2 more bases behind this to really support this play. He still is mining in his main base completely, still mining in his naturals, still mining in his 3rd, hasn't even started mining at his 4th yet, and establishes his 5th and 6th bases. So this will be essentially a 6-base Zerg to the 3-base Protoss, who is just now getting extended Thermal Lance. Will actually go up to 4 Colossi here shortly, but he has to hold on through this initial push that is going to shortly be a +3 attacks Zerg army to what will be the +1 armor of the Protoss army. That is, if we actually see Legion become the aggressive player here and push out onto the map, as we continue to see him with 14 drones in production, really trying to make sure he gets all 6 of these new bases fully up and fully saturated. Is he going up to 6 Colossi at this point? He is just going Colossi heavy. And Colossi are a great answer to those Swarm Hosts if he can see them. And I don't believe that cRUSHninja has a way of detecting. He does not. So that first 2 waves-ish of Locusts are going to absolutely destroy the army of cRUSHninja. And Legion isn't even dedicating to Swarm Host play. He's tossing down the Spire. He's tossing down the Ultralisk Cavern. He's getting Zergling speed at this point. He is just opening up every tech path so that if this push just fails for Legion, he can start going, alright, well, this is the composition that you have. I'm a Zerg player. I have all the tech paths open to me. I'm going to do a complete 180 on my army type. I went range damage with a lot of free units. Alright, you beat that. I'm going to go Ultralisk, Zergling, Baneling. And then just totally catch his opponent off guard. So we have a couple Lings running down here towards the base of cRUSHninja. Legion just trying to get a little scouting information. Sees 6 Colossi on the map. Actually, he has 2 observers in this army now. He will be able to kill off those Swarm Hosts. Gotta rally those Locusts forward. Zerg getting picked off there. The Locusts getting picked off before they're in range. These Colossi have such long range, but that is what the Vipers are for. The Vipers with that abduct ability. Oh, the Hydralisks are not going to survive this fight if they fight from there, but they yoink forward all of those Colossi. I'm not sure if it was the best idea to pull them all forward as they kill off a huge number, but 2 of the Colossi fall. One of them escapes with about half health. One of them just taking shield damage. There are still a lot of Colossi on this map. There are still 6 Colossi out. Even after 3 of them fell, 16 Mutalisks being morphed in, though. That is just going to absolutely devastate this army that is almost entirely ground-based. 2 Phoenix are still left. 4 Phoenix are still left. And Phoenix are a good counter to the Mutalisk. But just 4 against 15, I'm not sure that's enough. As we see the Zealot Zergling melee upgrades coming in now, as well as the chitinous plating. He is really looking hard at that Ultralisk transition. These Swarm Hosts not going to be able to do a whole lot more. They're going to keep this army bottled up, as actually with the army of Legion being positioned right here, cRUSHninja can't quite yet abuse his own mobility. This is a little late for this. The Groove Spines is finally on the way. This is the +1 ranged upgrade for the Hydralisk. This needed to come in a lot earlier. That would make them much more effective against this army comp of cRUSHninjas. But now we have 15 Mutalisks are here, 16 Mutalisks are here, and the Swarm Hosts are laying siege to the 3rd base. If the Queen started spreading creep along here, that'd be excellent, so the Locusts could get a little bit of a movement speed increase and get over into that 3rd base farther and get a lot more done over there. But they are 3/3 Locusts. They're going to get a lot done no matter what they do, and they're getting some damage onto those Colossi. The Colossi are going to be killed. The Storm's landing and killing off a large number of this. Everything is so bunched up here for Legion. Legion's going to lose so much in this fight. Legion's supply just plummets there. These Mutalisks will get quite a bit of damage done to those Colossi, though. But the ground army just got obliterated. The High Templars are at a Storm Zone, so they have morphed into Archons. The Archons with their splash damage are going to deal with the Mutas. Muta's going to ignore the Archons and just try to take out as many Colossi as they can before they all fall. All right, now they're going to try to focus down the Archon, but I think all of the Colossi or Mutalisks will fall first, especially with that Stalker support. But as I was saying earlier, it is the power of the Zerg army that they can abuse the tech switch. As we see, 15 Ultralisks are getting morphed in behind this, as well as 26 Zerglings. These will only be +1, +5. So 1 attack upgrade and 5 armor upgrades for these Ultralisks. They will absorb a lot of damage, but the issue is they won't be able to do much. We also finally see that Muscular Augments upgrade on the way for those Hydralisks that are no longer being used. Although you want to keep that option open so you can 180 again, go that complete 360, and bring back that Hydralisk comp. But at the moment, it's going to be Mutalisk Ling. As we once again see Legion moving out onto the map, he's not going to have that +2 attack upgrade that makes this, if you have +3 attack upgrade as well as the Adrenal Glands upgrade, it's one of the highest DPS and compositions in the game. But you need the Fungal Growths from the Infestors to lock the army in place, as Legion, cRUSHninja doing an excellent job kiting back the army of Legion. He's getting caught up in this choke point, but the Ultralisks do so much splash damage with those huge sweeping claws that they are just hitting multiple Colossi at once, getting a little caught up in that choke point. But they are finally engaged with the entire army of cRUSHninja, and Legion's Ultralisks just killing everything that cRUSHninja has. All of the Colossus have now fallen. The army is obliterated. The supply for Legion is just vast, is up at 200. Well, cRUSHninja's got nothing, and there's the GG. His army was just obliterated. It's a GG without leaving the game, though. He's going to try to make one last hold here, but he shouldn't be able to do it. Getting those Archons will die before they even morph in, especially with that careful target firing to take out those Stalkers first. And there's nothing here for cRUSHninja. He cannot do this. There we go. The Zerglings stream in, and there's the final GG. I think he was hoping a little bit that establishing this base would keep him in the game, but it could not. That was an excellently played game by Legion, especially with those excellent tech switches right all of a sudden to totally catch your opponent off guard. He was completely built up to deal with the Swarm Hosts. And then Legion just ran in with Ultralisks, who just ignored all of the splash damage, ate it all themselves, had such high health and high armor, and just tore through everything. And even had a huge bank left at the end of the game. to do another tech switch. That was an awesome game of StarCraft. Congratulations to Legion on winning that game. And I hope you will all join me for more exciting games of StarCraft in the future.